appeals to me about The Deer Hunter is I remember watching the movie and they were in Pennsylvania, then all of a sudden, before you saw any image at all, you heard
One of the earliest and arguably most important works dealing with the war in Vietnam, The Deer Hunter is considered one of the greatest American movies of all time, winning 5 Academy Awards including Best Picture, Best Director for Michael Cimino and Best Supporting Actor for Christopher Walken. Even 40 years after its release, the film remains a favorite among movie buffs. And that despite the movie's theme being rather a controversial one back then. Michael Deeley was the producer of the film.
It was only a few years after Vietnam, and it also has a strong feeling against violence, and also America felt it had been beaten in that war, which it had, and they didn't want to revisit that. I did know when I saw the first cut on it that it was special and original, and that's all I've ever cared about, is finding original material, and that's what lasts.
As part of a special Blu-ray collection by the Studio Canal, The Deer Hunter is making its return to the home screens. It's an opportunity to revisit Michael Cimino's Vietnam Odyssey once more, which takes 3 Pennsylvanian steelworkers to hell and back. Starring Robert De Niro, the film also introduced cinema goers to Christopher Walken and Meryl Streep.
Robert De Niro was an essential ingredient in the film, not just as an actor, but as a man who brought together the actors. He firstly picked most of them himself. We didn't know about Meryl Streep, for example. He did, and other people. And he rehearsed them, worked with them, created this relationship which shows on the screen. Very hard to fake, and he just made everybody a buddy. And he did this. And he did a lot of other things as well. He's much more than simply acting in the picture. He was excellent.
Michael Deeley's producer credits also include films like Blade Runner, The Wicker Man and The Italian Job. He's worked with some of the world's most acclaimed film directors and actors. In his newly released autobiography, the Englishman recalls the rollercoaster ride of his years in Hollywood.
It is very rarely true that everybody's nice on the set all the time. And there's no reason why it should be. I mean, you've got a lot of egos there, a lot of people competing for, particularly among the actors, competing for screen time. And quite frankly, I think it's a very good thing. It creates an awareness that you don't just slip into a sort of torpid way of knocking off 10 weeks of shooting, and eventually, and things finished, it's boring. Everyone's kept on their toes by tension on the set, and that's not a bad thing.
An uncensored look at the true stories behind some of the greatest movies ever made. Blade Runners, Deer Hunters and Blowing the Bloody Doors Off. My Life in Cult Movies is out now.